Hard to believe we're looking at snowfall on the roadways. That area in northern Florida, Tallahassee as well, all seeing the snow. And we do have another camera that I want to pop up for you as well. Not as easy to see, but if you look there on the ground, even more snow. Do want to bring in DC Reeves, the mayor of Pensacola, Florida, to discuss all of this and what he's seeing. Thank you so much, Mayor, for taking the time to be here. I know it has been a very busy time, so we definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Lots of great work being done out here in the city to try to get us back open, and that work has been taking place all overnight. And yeah, glad to be here.
Yeah, and first off, can you kind of break down what you've seen as far as the snow, the cold? Because it's not every day we're talking about snow in Florida.
Yeah, it's not. And, something of this scale is now unprecedented. Our record of snowfall was 3 inches in 1895. We received 7.6, and perhaps more yesterday. So this is what I believe, and I'm not sure what's happened to our neighbors in the east, but I believe that this is, at least at one point last night, was the largest snow event in the history of the state. What now? Fortunately, our team at the city was able to procure through a vendor and contractor 5 snowplows from Atlanta that got in on Monday night and beat the weather in. We have those 5 as well as 4 front end loaders. So for folks that say the cities won't have snowplows, they're right. That we wouldn't normally have snowplows, but we were able to get some of that and our focus this morning is on emergency critical roads. So all of our citizens are treating roads and hopefully treating roads as impassable at this point. We're looking at 17 critical roads within our city that connects our police, firefighters to everywhere they need to be, as well as to our healthcare system. So that's what our primary focus is. And again, our amazing team in public works and police and fire, double staffed, trying to keep those roads clear. And so we were able to make it through the night relatively unscathed. But this is when the work begins. Just because it stopped snowing doesn't mean that the roads are now safe to pass. And that's the message that we want to get out to our residents now.
Yeah, especially as we look at some of the roadways there in this live camera, one of many that we've seen across northern Florida and the Florida Panhandle that look a lot like that. I do want to go in reverse a little bit. Can you explain to me what you're thinking as the mayor of Pensacola when you hear there's snow in the forecast?
Yeah, well, as a matter of fact, I was in Washington, D.C. When this conversation started at U.S. Conference of Mayors, and planned on staying for the inauguration as well. And turns out I watched the President Trump's inauguration from Reagan National Airport, trying to catch a flight back on Monday. I was obviously able to do that and cut that trip short because of this possibility. But even at that point, we're talking about on Monday, there were predictions of 3 to 5 inches, 4 to 6 inches later that day. And here we are looking at around 8 inches, maybe more. And so this is definitely going to be a challenge. It's been a strain on our folks. And so, yeah, unprecedented territory, Josh, for all of us. And we're just trying to do the best that we can.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, there are snow plows that are there, and that's not something that you necessarily connect with the state of Florida. What are residents saying to you? Because I have to imagine that there are some that say it's beautiful snow, it's amazing, we never get that in Florida. And then you have others who say this is a mess, I have to stay indoors, I don't like this.
Yeah, well, because of the sheer volume that we saw yesterday, excuse me, the sheer volume we saw yesterday, I feel like, of course, people with children and that were wanting to go out and enjoy with your families. I think if you got on social media, lots of Pensacola families were enjoying what was a historic day. Something that I hadn't even seen actual accumulation on the ground in Pensacola since I was 9 years old, and I was about 1993. And so obviously there's that aspect. And then there's really the safety aspect. And what we're gravely concerned about right now is the snow has stopped. It did about 10 o'clock yesterday, and that giving the false impression that it's now safe to, it happens in hurricanes, actually, Josh, the same concept where when the wind is over, let's get in our car and drive around and go see what happened. Well, yeah, as I've been telling our local media as well, is if you're making that decision to get into a vehicle, what you're basically saying is, I'm willing to put a police or firefighter's life on the line for me to go out and do this. That's how important this must be. And so I think that challenge actually increases, not only because of the ice now on the roads. We continue to have freezing temperatures. We don't expect anything to be coming off of the ground through today and perhaps into Thursday and Friday. So that's what our mission critical job is right now, is to keep people off the roads. As I see one on your live shot there, and that's Interstate 10, but which could be first responders, but to try to keep people off the roads as best we can, so we can let our heroes do their job.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of people don't think about the fact that you have first responders that you're putting in danger if you're out there and don't have to be. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. And Mayor, before I let you go, is there anything else that you want to add, that you want to make sure folks out there are aware of?
Yeah, listen, I do want to appreciate the folks. We saw a significant decrease in driving volume last night. So we do believe that our residents, I don't want to make it sound like our residents aren't following that. And just to be thinking about today, again, we're double staffed at fire, double staffed at police, all hands on deck at public works, outside vendors. There is a lot of amazing work and effort. We have police chiefs and fire chiefs spending the night at their headquarters. Airport staff spending the night at the airport. So there is so much that goes into trying to create this increased public safety. And so as we come out from under this and continue to get these roads plowed, keep those folks in mind, and certainly keep them in mind if you're thinking about getting on the roads, wherever you are, wherever you're listening from, whether that's in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, or Florida, that this mission should be the same for everybody. So please heed those warnings and stay home with your families and stay safe.
Yeah. Well, Mayor DC Reeves over in Pensacola, Florida, thank you so much for taking the time to join us here. Please stay safe out there, and hopefully that snow will melt very soon.
Yeah. Hey, Josh, thank you so much for having us and letting us spread the word.